Hey guys, welcome back to Modelbird Studio. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. This time, we'll be taking a look at this massive kit we have right here. This is the HG Universal Century kit from the new Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway movie, number 265, the ATX FF104 Alyzeus. This is a big high grade. For comparison, here's the HG RX78 NT1. That's a common HG size. Next to the HG Penelope, which still comes up short, the Alyzeus is still a little taller and wider. Next to the HG Nightingale, and both of these kits are the same size. Finally, last year's Psycho Gundam Mark II, also of the same size. I'll mention one more time that all of the new kits come with the new Bandai Hobby logo, which I dislike the design of. On this side, we can see some of the close-ups of the weapons, as well as some of the details that we'll get into later. On the other side, we can see the front and rear views, close-ups of certain parts that can be moved, cool shot of the Alyzeus in flight mode, awesome action shot on this side, this one right here with the double sabers that can be attached underneath the skirt, comes with various hand parts, the RX-94 production type new Gundam, which I do like how it looks, and we'll get into some of my thoughts on it later in the video. Opening this kit, we can see why it's so massive. It's packed with tens of runners. 15 bags of runners to be exact. And our instruction manual. In the middle, we get this cool spread, some info on the pilot. On the bottom, we can see other Hathaway kits, the Penelope, XI Gundam, and the Gustav Karl. On this side, there's more information on the Alyzeus, with some cool poses. On the back, we can see some cool images, flight mode and rear view, close-ups of the weapons, more action poses. Lastly, we have the color guide, something I do want to eventually get back to for this kit. Thick manual, like a magazine. Let's get these runners out of the bags and take a closer look at them. 37 runners in total. Close up on the shoulder armor for the new Gundam. The antennas are on this side. Here's something I noticed right away that I don't like. The hollow parts on the tips of the feet. This type of things are not uncommon on HG grades, but here they really stand out. If I'm coloring this kit, I would fill these up for sure. On certain sections, the color separation isn't that bad at all. Some of the skirt pieces right here, along with the two halves of the head and face parts. Some internal frame pieces. Here's a vernier, that's for the backpack. Two halves of the backpack. The X runners are the ones containing parts for the Alyzeus. Some of these pieces are pretty big, like we see on the XH runner here. Other internal frame pieces with hollowed out parts, but for these I don't mind since they'll be covered. The support for the base is right here. There are two solid pieces for the legs of the Alyzeus, all in a single color. Below that, there are parts for the rifle, which is also a single color. Pieces on the XP runner are in this beautiful transparent smoke. They shine really nice with the light. Runners with the base. The XR1 and 2 runners come in a clear blue and yellow, and only include a single piece. MP4 contains all of the hand parts, which you get 3 sets of for each hand. Stickers. I hate stickers. And unfortunately, we get some here. All of these except for one are for the new Gundam. The pink circle is for the Alyzeus. As usual, we'll be using our trusty God hand nippers to remove all of the parts from the runners. My preferred method is to cut all the parts from the runners for any given section, place them in separate containers, then build everything afterwards. This way I keep everything organized, but also speeds up the whole process. Once you've built enough kits, I find this to be the fastest method. On to the rest of the sections. This kit has so many sections, and even within those I still had to further break them down, so this will take a lot of containers. Not sure if I'll have enough in the end. After a long time of doing this, eventually I began to clear all of the runners. What do you guys do with your empty runners? Do you keep them or throw them out? Let me know that in the comments. I keep mine thinking I'll find a purpose for them later. And just as predicted, I ran out of containers, so I had to place some of those into plastic bags. That took a while to clean up. This mountain of nubs is what came out of that. Now for the fun part, let's get this built. I'll start off by applying all the stickers first before putting anything together. The fins on the head move independently on each side. Do be careful though, they are fragile, and you don't get a replacement if they break. They are to be pressed together like this when inserting the Alyzeus parts. The upper and lower panel on the torso opens up like this. And this is also needed for other Alyzeus parts. The color separation parts on the shoulders are really good. I think they really did a good job on these. The same can be said for the right arm attachment, where you need 2 color correction stickers. When it comes to the hands, it is nice you get 3 sets per hand. 1 opened, 1 closed, and 1 for holding a weapon. What sucks though is that you only get 1 hand plate cover to be shared among all 3. When it's sticker heavy like this, it doesn't look good at all. The other arm looks alright. The legs contain a lot more parts, but the build was pretty straightforward. The articulation on the legs is pretty good. The ball joint is able to move in all directions pretty smoothly, and to a nice degree at that. The double joint at the knee is also good, and can go beyond 90 degrees. We'll cover this more once everything is put together. I recommend cutting the skirt in half. There's some really good color separation on the waist as well. The backpack is only in a single gray color, besides the saber holders being white. Applying the stickers to the rifle, this is by far the worst sticker set for this kit. Just looks bad. Also, you only get 1 set even though you get 2 rifles. What's cool though is you get 2 additional hands for the weapons. 1 for holding the beam sabers, and 1 with a trigger finger for the rifle. And finally, everything is coming together. Connecting all of the sections we've built so far. And yet, we are about halfway as we still need to put the Alyzeus together after this. The new prototype is already looking quite good. But there's still so much work to be done. So let's go on and get the Alyzeus built. There's a ton of parts for the Alyzeus, so we're going to get started with the leg pieces. Each side of the legs is composed of several sections. After this, we'll need to prepare the new Gundam and have all the Alyzeus parts attached to it. But before that, let's talk about some things about the new prototype. I honestly like the way it looks. Some would disagree, claiming it doesn't look polished enough. And the thing is, it doesn't have to. It is a prototype mobile suit after all, so it should look like one. That being said, let's point some things out. The skirt is movable, independently if you did cut it in 2. The wrench on the legs isn't too much. It is unable to do a full 90-degree front kick. Again, the ankles do have a good range of motion, moving in all directions. Folding the leg back does go a little over 90 degrees, and could go further if the skirt and the add-on behind the knee didn't get in the way. The front skirt has these sections that can be extended, and this is to be able to attach the Alyzeus skirt armor. The shoulders can be moved all the way up, giving more range in the arms, but also this is necessary for the Alyzeus arm attachments. The arms can rotate 360 degrees, and the elbow bends at a 90-degree angle. All the joints do feel sturdy, and even a little stiff, which is a good thing. The torso on the new Gundam isn't able to fully rotate, and that's because this back piece gets in the way, so it locks it in place. The only way would be to raise the torso, so that it clears that part. We saw this before. Opening the panels on the chest is for more Alyzeus attachments, as well as the fence on the head, that can move independently, but that's because you need to move them together to fit into another attachment. The range on the head is okay. It can look down somewhat, turn left and right, but barely any movement on the back. The beam sabers can also be moved back and forth, but only in a single direction. Bending at the hip is a bit sturdy, and with all this stuff on it, it can be a bit tough. The beam saber in the arm is a bit tricky to bring out. It almost feels impossible. Level of detail at the bottom of the feet is good, except for those hollowed out parts. The new Gundam is a tall kit, and to show that off, here's what it looks like next to the 1144 RX-78. As we can see, it is about a third taller. Next to the MG Unicorn, now it looks tiny compared to. Let's get the new Gundam ready for the Alyzeus. First, we need to replace these parts on the backpack with these other ones that face inward. These hollowed out areas will eventually have other parts connected to them. Next, we need to remove the legs. The hip joints need to be facing the opposite direction. Remove this cover piece. Lastly, we bend them like this. The legs get sandwiched into these big pieces that wrap around it, and we add the rest. The side sections will be attached like so. These pieces are required to connect both of them. They create a hip joint where each side attaches to the legs. In the center, we then attach the body of the prototype new Gundam. This is a bit difficult, since it is a bit hard to see the inserts. But eventually I got it. That is looking so cool. Off to the rest. The skirt armor attaches over the existing skirt by pulling the inner parts outward to reveal the connection parts. This one snapped in easily. Here's a chest piece for the Alyzeus. Next up is building the back section. This is where some of the biggest pieces go. Opening out the plates on the chest will reveal the connections for the chest piece. And just like that, it snaps in place. For the back piece, we need these pieces that will then be attached to each side of the backpack. The back piece attaches over the backpack. This thing is huge. If it wasn't for the rotating platform, I don't think we can pose this on a level surface. The top part, just like the chest piece, doesn't take too long to build. This, to me, always looks like a bird. These are 6 pieces that will eventually make up the fins. The fins themselves also consist of 6 pieces, 3 per each side. This is how they are supposed to look, with one being higher than the previous one. Something interesting to point out are the connecting pieces in between. They look good on this side, but not on this one. And that's because even these connecting pieces need to be inserted in a specific way. This one is reversed. Switching it around will make it fit perfectly. Correct? Incorrect. These are the arms. Also, a warning on the arms. Each of these joint parts needs to be facing the opposite way. When following the guide, it reads here as making 2, which is correct, so I built 2 of these. But then later, it shows the arm built again, but with the joint piece facing right, and initially to the left. So be careful and know this is how they are supposed to be like. The Alyzeus shoulder pieces That's a really cool arm. This panel can be flipped up as well. Adding the rest of the pieces, bring the fins together and the top part goes over the head. The fins attach to the back. For the arms, we need to pull the shoulders all the way up, then use these adapters. Then the arms will easily attach. Here's the fully assembled Alyzeus, a build that takes a bit of time, but very well worth it. Let's go ahead and add the beam sabers that go underneath the skirt using these 2 pieces. It is always easier to put if we remove the skirt armor. Then we just put them back on and add the sabers. Unfortunately, these don't have joints that move or rotate. Finally, this thing is fully built. It is a big kit, no doubt. So again, just for fun, let's put some kits next to it for a size comparison. First up, the RX-78. This one already looks twice as small. Next to the RG Sasabi, the Master Grade Unicorn, which is only slightly shorter. I know what's taller, the Psycho Gundam Mark II. Next to this behemoth, now the Alyzeus is the one that looks tiny. Onto the base that comes for this kit. This part goes underneath the Alyzeus, and this one is the one that holds the wing in the back. Time to mount the Alyzeus onto the base. You're going to want to be careful here because this thing feels like it's going to fall apart. The base holds up well, does look cool from all angles. Let's go from normal mode to flight mode. First, we remove the arms, then the fins. Remove the back wing. Take these 2 pieces, move them back, and fold them together. Extend the wing, straighten it, then push it back in. Once attached, it's supposed to look like this. Next step is to rotate the legs and move the position of those thrusters. Close the extensions on the feet. One thing you'll notice is that these legs are too heavy to be held up like this on their own, which is why we need this piece. This attaches to the side of the base, and it'll allow the legs to rest on it. Hopefully you can see what that looks like. We do the same on both sides. Switch the positions of the thrusters, open these hatches, and extend these parts on both sides. For the fins, we'll need these 2 extended pieces. We replace them with the previous ones and attach them to the sides of the backpack. Lastly, the arms. First, pull this piece outward and rotate it. Next, raise both flaps, rotate the arm, and lastly, position the thruster. Attaching this one requires a bit of patience because it has to be wedged between some pieces. Once attached, it holds in place. Same thing on the other side. There you have it, from normal to flight mode. We got one more transformation, and that is the damaged Alyzeus form. For that, we basically need to remove the majority of the parts we just put on. Starting off with the arms, the headpiece, the fins, the back wing, chest piece. From here, remove the NU Gundam torso, Remove the legs from the Alyzeus hip joint. We need to take the legs out from here. There's 1 and 2. Add the cap back on and rotate the joint. Remove the Alyzeus adapters from the backpack. Put one of the original ones back on one side. Attach this new piece on the other side. This other piece is for the panel in the arms. Then that attaches to the backpack with this other special part. Finally, the wing then attaches to it as well. Reattach the legs. Add a panel of the Alyzeus skirt without the weapons. There it is, the damaged Alyzeus. Something that's cool is that you get 2 parts for the fins. So if you use both, you can have a double fin NU Gundam. This build took a while, but it was a lot of fun. I think it's a must-have for any Gundam fan. I'll recommend giving it a try, even if you're a beginner. Just take your time with it. It is not really a pulsable kit in Alyzeus form, but it does have a lot of movable parts that are fun to mess around with. Switching from normal mode to flight mode can be a bit stressful though, so hopefully you won't have to do it too often. The new Gundam Prototype is still a solid kit in my opinion. Again, it's not really meant to stand out on its own, since it is designed as part of the Alyzeus. As always, the stickers are one of the weakest aspects of the kit. There aren't many included, but the arm and the weapon stickers are especially rough. Even if you don't plan on painting the kit, I recommend using a marker for those parts instead, along with a few others that could use some color corrections. It really does go a long way. That being said, thank you again for joining me in another build and review. Take care, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next one.